recording on this.
Oh, can you also allow me to share screen? I don't
Oh,
have those permissions.
oh my, you are really on fire, Kevin. We're so good. Enjoy. So, guys, very welcome to this session about gratitude. And if the question is, can gratitude unlock happiness at workplace? Yes, isn't it, Kevin?
We'll find
Well,
out.
we will find out. So, the main speaker is Kevin Monroe, and I have been so fortunate to know him for the last 3.5 years. And amazing guy, knows everything about gratitude, or yeah, ish. But then again, he, as he mentioned, maybe you heard it, but he loves quotes. So
Yeah.
he's always quoting something, and I'm just like, where do you pick this up? So, but Kevin, and as Kevin said, by all means, be on camera so we can see you. But he is asking on Mentimeter if you are familiar with that. So use that. And
Hey, but I've got to find out who's joining from school. What kind of
yeah,
school class is joining this session? That's exciting. Welcome, everyone. And welcome on camera. Okay, so Hedden can tell you, I don't do well with Nordic names or Icelandic names. I've been trying to say Hedden's name for 3.5 years. I still can't say it right. Is it Darja? How do you say your name? But welcome on screen. I'm just so delighted you're joining on screen. So tell me about the school. Who's joining from school? Yeah, welcome, Darja. Darsha.
It's Daria.
Daria. Welcome.
It's not Scandinavian, it's Slavic.
Slavic, okay. Daria. So, Hedden, do you know about these people joining from a school class?
no. So that is just fun.
You can drop it in the chat. You can come online, tell us about that. But welcome. I'm so glad you're here today. I really do want to know what kind of school group or what kind of class has joined us, and what prompted you to join a session on the International Workplace Happiness Week. International Week of Workplace Happiness.
No, International Week of Happiness at Work, Kevin.
Oh, there we go. International Week of Happiness at Work. That's what we are here for today. As Hedden already said, the question I believe gratitude's the key that unlocks happiness and workplace happiness, is why we're saying it like that. I believe it unlocks all happiness, but especially workplace happiness. And I'm just going to make a statement here as we start. First off, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. It's not happy people who are grateful. It's grateful people who are happy. But I believe there is a strong correlation. Have you ever met a happy person who wasn't grateful? And have you ever known a grateful person who wasn't happy? I'm not here to debate causation, right? Which comes first? I don't know, but I do see a high correlation. I believe gratitude and workplace happiness go hand in hand, and happiness in general. And when you find workplaces that embrace and express gratitude, those are places where people are happy at work and people experience workplace happiness. So let's dig in and explore this today. And wow, we've got more people joining. So wherever you're joining from, I am so glad you're here. I'm looking through the list. Hedden, most of these are new people to me, so welcome. I am so happy to meet you. We now have 22 people on Menti, and that's pretty amazing as well. I hope you enjoy the Mentimeter experience because it allows us to interact. It allows you to interact whether you're on screen or not, and the interaction is always anonymous. No one ever knows who reports what on Mentimeter, which is one reason why I use Mentimeter. So I'm curious about this. If you look back over the last week, how would you rate your level of overall happiness and workplace happiness. And I'm going to hide results while people are voting. And I'll put the vote code on the screen, because you can, with Mentimeter, you can open up another tab on your browser using the link that's in the chat. You can use a digital device and grab the QR code, participate that way. And yeah, I love that you're interacting with the heart. I also love that you're voting. And let's see, what do people say? What are the votes? Oh, a bunch of you have voted, and we've got more people joining on Menti. All right, let's see. Ah, interesting. Hedden, did you have any thoughts of what we would see in numbers? I really hadn't thought how people would vote. I was just curious.
You know, maybe I would have guessed 7.5, like 7.5 or something.
Ah, you would have guessed a little higher.
Yes. Well, maybe it's because I'm a positive person. I don't know. I'm just a happy guy.
Yeah.
So
All right. So look at this. There are more people having higher levels of overall happiness than workplace happiness. Now, and anyway, we'll get into that. Here's something I've noticed, I've observed since the pandemic. The world and the world of work have changed dramatically. I mean, things just aren't the same as they used to be, as has what people expect and want. But I use the word expect. People's expectations of what it means to be happy at work have changed, and how they experience being happy at work has changed. And I'll share some data on that. Here, this comes from, I pulled this from 3 different studies. Oh, and after this is over, we'll share the Menti deck. Hedden will post it somewhere or get it to all of you that might want it. And all of the references, they're noted here where these come from, 3 different studies. But 50% of employees want more flexibility. Right. And this is a real driver of happiness, right? And you know, the return to work initiatives around the world that have struggled, or just the whole topic. Where can I work? When can I work? So people want increased flexibility. People care more now about work-life balance than they did prior to the pandemic. And 41% of people are looking for more benefits, such as mental health care, care for their overall well-being, and increased PTO. I love this one, that 85% of employees say their employee experience highly correlated to workplace happiness. It matters more now than it did a year ago. 85%. 62% of employees say it's very important for them to be recognized, both for their efforts and achievements. Now, you know, a lot of workplaces are really good at recognizing results. We recognize results when people have done well. You know, a lot of awards are given for that. And then 57% believe it's important that recognition is now linked to rewards. This is a study. I was doing a session with a client group in July, and I'm live in person rather than a virtual, and it was so fun to be with people live. And a senior VP, a VP of HR was in the room, and I had just teed some things up and said some things, and all of a sudden the VP says, "Hey, may I share something?" And what I'm sharing with you now is what she shared with the group. And I've broken this down into 2 slides, but there are 5 areas. And if you're wondering, the reinvented EVP is the employee value proposition. The employee value proposition, what employees want and what employees are looking for from work. And we could also call this the happiness formula, right? When these things are met, if this is the employee value proposition, the renewed employee value proposition, when a company provides these things, employees have higher levels of workplace happiness. So 5 things that employees want. They want radical flexibility. I already said that, but that's about when to work, where to work. They want opportunities for personal growth. They don't want to just be stagnant. They want to grow. They want to develop. They want to be challenged. They want holistic well-being. Overall, concerned about my overall quality of life. They want to have shared purpose and contribute to shared purpose. And they want deeper connections. Now, what really excited me, and the first way I saw this wheel had these outside labels attached. Radical flexibility. When someone's experiencing that, how do they describe it? Well, they describe it as, I feel autonomous. Personal growth, I feel valued. Holistic well-being, I feel cared for. Shared purpose, I feel invested. And deeper connections, I feel understood. Now, what I had just shared right before the VP shared this, I'll share with you all in a minute, but I had used the word feeling. People want to feel. And I couldn't help but notice in all 5 facets of this wheel of the renewed employee value proposition, which Gartner calls the human deal framework. I love that label, the human deal framework. Feeling is the word they use. They didn't say, I think I'm understood. I believe I'm understood. I know I'm understood. The word employees are wanting to, they're wanting to feel it, right? It's an emotional response to these conditions in the workplace. Oh, there's the school. Hey, this is awesome. This is awesome. Welcome. We now see you all on camera. Haddon, you need to get a screenshot of this. This just made my day. So these are things that that employees want from work. But what do employees wonder? And here's what I believe employees around the world wonder. Am I seen, heard, valued, and appreciated for my unique contributions? You're uncomfortable being up there on the front row? I see somebody like, gosh, I'm in the spotlight. But employees wonder, am I seen, heard, valued, and appreciated? Oh, you appreciate me calling that out, Haddon? Tamara, are you the teacher? Is that you? Or that's right there? Is this someone you know, Haddon?
No. Yeah, she's a teacher, I guess, because she is
awesome.
Trying to figure out the
Tamara,
camera.
Unmute yourself and tell us about this class briefly, if you're comfortable doing that.
Is dat nu echt terug weg of wat?
Yeah.
Hi. These are the students of the minor Happy at Work. They're following the minor for half a year, for 6 months. No, yeah, I think 3-4 months, and we're going to teach them about happiness in the workplace.
Awesome.
Welcome,
Awesome.
guys.
I mean, that's just fabulous.
Yes.
That this is a part of a curriculum. And I love that your students are going to enter the workplace believing they should be happy at work. Okay, so a lot of us that are older than you all, we were taught expect work to be miserable, and you just put up with it. But that's no good. Work should, what my father taught me when I was a teenager, said, son, you spend most of your waking hours working. Find work you love, right? Because you spend a good portion of your life working. I love it that you all are here. Welcome. This is so exciting that we have you all as a class. Now, I want to ask this question. I believe employees around the world wonder, or let me just say this, people around the world. We're talking about workplace, so we say employees, but people around the world wonder, am I seen, heard, valued, and appreciated for my unique contributions? So I'm curious, what about you? When was the last time you wondered if you were seen, heard, valued, or appreciated for who you are and what you have to offer, your unique contributions? And I invite you all to vote on this. I will tell you that the very first time I asked this question, the very first time I asked this question was just July, a month before last. And I was live in person with a group of leaders from AWS, Amazon Web Services, Latin America. We were together in Miami, and there are 15 people in the room, others joining via video as you're joining today. And we weren't using Mentimeter. I just asked by a show of hands. And the very first person to raise their hand, say, I've wondered this week, was the VP of the group, right? So, I mean, this whole idea of wondering this, I think it's a relevant question for all of us. So let's see. What do we have here? Oh, look at this. Okay. The majority of folks voting, you've wondered this week. You've wondered it this week in the last 7 days. Now, when we start talking about workplace happiness, and I don't have this slide in this deck, but if we dig into other data, 66%, 66% of people in the workplace around the world have not been told they're seen, heard, valued, or appreciated in the last 90 days or more. Think about that. 2/3 of workers around the world don't get this kind of feedback more than once a quarter. And just the folks here, people have wondered it this week. The majority of people have wondered it this week. Usually when I ask this question, there's a large number of people that say, today, I've wondered this today. I've wondered it yesterday. I've wondered it this week. So the last 7 days is the largest vote getter. And then when we look at workplaces around the world, the majority of people haven't heard this in 90 days. And I think it's 17% haven't heard it ever. 22% hear it once a year. And so when we start talking about this, and then William James, who was the father of American psychology. And if you hadn't figured it out, I'm from America. You all are from all other parts of the world, but I probably have an accent. I'm from the southeast part of the United States, so I may sound like an American. But William James said this: the deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated. The deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated, to want to know that you are seen, heard, valued, and appreciated. You have a craving for that. I have a craving for that. We want to experience that weekly. So, Hedden, when we start talking about the connection, I believe where gratitude flows, happiness grows. Where gratitude flows, happiness grows. So if workplaces want to increase happiness, one thing they can do is increase the expressions of gratitude. To tell people, I see you, you are seen, heard, valued, and appreciated, and to communicate that on a regular basis, to let people know, to not be afraid to share that, and to not feel that if you tell somebody, I appreciate you, that they're going to slack off. The opposite is usually the case. When employees feel appreciated, they usually go the extra mile. They do more. So another thought on this: the degree to which people are seen, heard, valued, and appreciated, it's reflected in their current level of happiness. So if they don't have this given to them, their happiness is lowered. So if we want to increase workplace happiness, one easy thing, well, let me rephrase that. One simple thing to do. Simple is not always easy, right? One simple thing to do is to see, hear, value, and appreciate your people. Now, what does that look like? So we're here to talk about gratitude and happiness. So let me define two sets of terms. Gratitude. This is my favorite definition for gratitude. It comes from my friend Patty Blackstaff. Gratitude is appreciation for all that we have, all that we are, and thankfulness for our ability to show love and kindness to others. Right? That's gratitude. It's this appreciation for all that you have. There were years in my life that I only thought of gratitude as that first part, appreciation for stuff, right? For things, for my family, for my health. Well, what if we expand our understanding of our understanding of gratitude, and it begins to include appreciation for all that you are? Your gifts, talents, and abilities. Now, Hedden is a really good friend of mine, and I can say this for him because he can say it about me. Can you also be grateful for your quirky personality, right? Hedden and I are quirky kind of people. You are a quirky kind of person. We're all unique. There's something unique about you. Can you be grateful for that? Can you appreciate that you may have a really unique sense of humor? You know, your contributions, they're unique, they're different. And then gratitude is appreciation for our ability to connect and to show love and kindness with other people. I believe gratitude's the great gateway to abundance. And I'll also say this, gratitude is a new essential skill of leadership. So if you are a leader in the workplace, gratitude's not an option for you anymore. Gratitude is a skill that you need to master. And I love the definition of master. Right? When I say master, I don't believe you can ever totally conquer it, but I believe mastery is getting better at something that really matters. And gratitude really matters. Now, Hedden, I put this one together. I just learned this yesterday. Just yesterday, I started listening to this book, Build the Life You Want by Arthur C. Brooks and Oprah Winfrey. And in the opening, Dr. Brooks talked about the macronutrients of happiness. There are 3 elements required to come together to contribute to happiness and workplace happiness. Those 3 elements are enjoyment, satisfaction, and purpose. Purpose being the most significant of the 3. But when you think about this, your overall life happiness, if you're going to be happy in life, you have to have a sense of enjoyment. You also have to derive satisfaction from what you're contributing and shared sense of purpose. And if you look at this correlates to the 5 facets of the wheel that Gartner shared earlier. So the macronutrients of happiness or workplace happiness. Do people enjoy their work? Do they? Gallup tells us to be happy at work. There's another real necessary ingredient, that you have a best friend at work, that there's someone with whom you work that you have a high degree of connection with. So enjoyment, satisfaction. Do you find fulfillment from the work you do? Do you get the opportunity to make contributions to something meaningful and to progress on something that matters? And then is there purpose? So those are 3 macronutrients. And I want to throw this out there, Hedden. I'm not sure how people will respond to this, but happiness is not a reward. It's a consequence. They're decisions you and I make. They're choices we make, and they lead us to either experience happiness in life or unhappiness in life. Likewise, if things aren't going well in your life right now and you feel you're suffering, suffering's not a punishment. It's just a result of choices you made. So workplace happiness comes from choices both the leaders of the company make, your immediate supervisor, how they treat you, and then how you respond. But happiness doesn't have to be a reward. It's a consequence. Now, I want to talk about growing gratitude to increase happiness. If we want to increase happiness, and we believe there's this correlation between happiness and gratitude, well, if you want to increase happiness, and this can be in your life or in your work or in your classroom, right? Wherever you want to apply that, growing gratitude is the key. So 3 things I want to talk about today. Express. It's important that we express gratitude. You say I reference quotes a lot. You know, one of my a favorite, and gosh, I only have about 200 favorite quotes. But one of them is, to feel gratitude and not express it is like wrapping a present and not giving it to someone. Right? If you feel gratitude for someone, tell them, express it to them. However you want to do that, express it to them. And there's so many ways you can do that. Well, gosh, well, let's do this now. I wasn't planning on doing this now, but we got a good group here. Let's do this now. I invite you to think of someone that has contributed to your happiness, the level of happiness you're experiencing now. Think of someone. Does someone come to mind? Someone's done something for you that's made you happy. Why don't you pause and send them a text message now? Send them a text. Express your happiness. I don't know. Do you all have phones, digital devices in your classroom there? Do you get to have your digital device in classroom? If you do, retrieve it, send somebody a message. Tell them I'm grateful for you. I appreciate you. So let's take a moment and do that now. Yeah, there'll be a moment of silence. Okay, so hopefully you've sent that message. But express gratitude. So last year we launched a campaign. It's a very simple campaign, and it uses two versions of a card, like the one you see on your screen. It says, I'm grateful for you. 4 words on a card. The back of the card is blank, except for domain of the campaign site at the bottom. I'm grateful for you. There's also a bigger version of the card. So this we call the impact version. This we call the legacy version, because people are writing a longer note on this. But what if, just like you took a moment then to send a text message to tell someone, I'm grateful for you, what if you give you see someone doing something amazing, whether they're a friend, whether they're a stranger, whether it's a coworker. I mean, I see people do this in all kinds of ways, and people carry these cards with them, and they pull out a card and they write a note on the back, and they give it to someone to express their gratitude, their personal gratitude. Just last week, we did this with a company. There was a company, a global pharmaceutical company, that if I called their name, you'd know it. I don't know if I have permission to use their name, so I blanked it out on the screen here. But we printed 700 of these cards, I'm grateful for you cards, and we mailed them to 700 employees, and they received a card that had this personal note of gratitude from their VP. I wanted to send a huge thank you for your consistent hard work and dedication to our vision as an organization and to our division. I so appreciate, and I'm so appreciative and excited about the incredible work you do every day on behalf of their company and for the patients we serve. It's truly inspiring to see what we've accomplished and what we will continue to accomplish together. Now imagine receiving a card like that at your home, right? Addressed to you and expressing personal gratitude to you. So there's so many ways to express gratitude, but it boosted happiness amongst the people. And they did this as part of Joy Week. When we express gratitude, here's what I've come to learn. Simple. So these cards are very simple. This is a simple card, simple note. Simple plus sincere. So a simple vehicle, a sincere message has a significant impact. And if you do that consistently, the results are transformational. And so what can you do? If you want to increase workplace happiness, how will you express more gratitude? How will you invite people to express gratitude? So that's express. Now, the second level, if we want to take this to the next level, it's activate gratitude. It's for you to express gratitude as leaders, for your company to express gratitude. But what if we invite all of our people and we get them in on the action? I believe gratitude experienced is better than gratitude explained. So I host these things called gratitude encounters. I do one once a month. We've got one coming up on October 10th. I'll find the link, drop it in there. We'd love to have you join that. But gratitude experienced is better than gratitude explained. So when this company sent a note of gratitude, they also sent their people, and they arrived in this envelope that says, I'm grateful for you. And inside it were cards for these employees to also share their gratitude. So you can express gratitude, but if you really want to see it grow, you begin to activate it and to invite people to share their gratitude. So we have these kits. They're called I'm Grateful for You kits. And we provide people with sets of the impact cards as well as the bigger card, the legacy cards. And it's something when we do a workplace campaign and 300 people, 500 people, 700 people, 1,000 people are all receiving these packets and all invited to begin to express their gratitude inside the company, outside the company, and their family and friends, right? To see it grow. And then something else we do, I just mentioned a gratitude encounter. I host these. I host these for companies, and we get people from companies. And when we do it inside a company, these are always customized, and they're customized to very specific themes and goals that the company wants to accomplish. And we get people from their company sharing gratitude with one another and experiencing gratitude, not just having it expressed, but experiencing it. And it changes things. So that's activating gratitude. So you can express, you can activate. Now, if you're really serious about this, and if you really want to see a difference made, I believe you will infuse, right? Infuse, that's kind of like the ultimate level. Infuse means allowing the flavor and healing properties of gratitude to permeate your company culture and the leadership of your company and culture. And when you infuse gratitude, now you've become a grateful person. You've become a grateful team. You've become a grateful company. And I just have to believe happiness increases, right? That there is an increased level of happiness because people have infused gratitude. Well, what does it look like to infuse gratitude? This is the ongoing, right? You can express gratitude once. That's good. You can activate gratitude and begin to express it more. But when you infuse gratitude, now you're looking at how do we infuse gratitude into everything we do, everything I do as a leader. So earlier this year, we launched this 21-day gratitude infusion journey to take leaders, to take workplaces on simply a 3-week exploration as a starting point. 3 weeks. How much gratitude can we express? How much happiness can we experience as a result? And here's what it looks like. We invite people, we write an intention. So imagine you start your day, and this was the intention we used in our first campaigns. I'm open to know, grow, and show gratitude today. I remember gratitude is a choice. I will look for opportunities to infuse gratitude into my life and work. And then we invite people, and with these teams, they realized the 3 things they spent most of their time doing was in conversations, in correspondence, and actually in meetings. So we put another C here, thinking. You're thinking about things. But when they spread out their buckets of time, how they spent their time, they're either in conversations with their teams, team members, they are in correspondence, sending several hundred emails a day, or they're hosting meetings with customers, with teams. So then we began to ask, if you want to infuse, what does it look like to interject gratitude into your conversation? What does it look like to introduce or inject gratitude into your correspondence? And so some of the ways we look at this, right? What does it mean in conversation? Well, what if at some point in a conversation, you actually, and you don't always have to use the word gratitude, but you're affirming somebody for their unique contribution. We talked about people want to be seen, heard, valued, and appreciated for their unique contributions. You're calling out, you're celebrating the unique contributions of someone. You're affirming them for what they do. Or in correspondence, what if? So maybe a year and a half ago, I realized I no longer wanted to automate my gratitude in an email signature, right? I used to have an email signature, and so many people activate an automated email signature. Well, and they change it to be grateful or appreciative, with gratitude. What if you turn that off for a week? What if you turn it off for a month? And every time you're sending an email, you pause a few extra seconds and you think, what is it about this person that I appreciate in this moment? And what if I just write 3 words, 5 words to express that gratitude real time? What difference would that make? I'll tell you what, it makes a tremendous difference, right? Going back to that seen, heard, valued, and appreciated. And what if you infuse gratitude into your meetings? How do you do that? Well, you can start a meeting by asking, what's the best thing that happened since we were together last? What do we have that we want to celebrate as a team? And all of those things increase the level of gratitude and increase the level of happiness inside a company. I'm going to pause here. There's some more things I want to say. I want to ask, I need to send a link to somebody, and somebody's saying they're trying to get in. So, questions, comments. Who wants to jump in? Who's got a question? You can put it in the chat. Your thoughts so far, Hedden, on how this is the correlation, the connection between gratitude, workplace happiness.
Well, it is just intertwined. It must be like, and when happiness grows, so gratitude grows. Like it elevates things, and I think, because we have talked about it so many times, that if you give yourselves the time to pause. Have you ever thought about it? That when you lie in bed and you're waking up, and maybe you hear the birds outside singing, and you just immediately say, "Ooh, this will be a good day."
Yeah.
Or just the small things. It is just, I think it's just relates to each other, and
Absolutely.
evaluate, like it lifts everything up. So I think this is something that we should like all do.
So I'm looking. It's something got moved.
Yeah.
A magnet got unstuck on my desk. It usually stays right there on my monitor stand. But 3 simple words. Hedden just said how to start your day. If you want to grow gratitude, there's a simple 3-step process. Pause. It starts with pausing. If you simply take a moment, and I love what you just said, Hedden. What if you start your day with a pause? What if you just begin the day pausing for a moment? So you pause. Well, what do you do when you pause? You notice. Well, notice what? Notice whatever there is to notice, right? I love when you wake up in the morning. Well, you can notice the warm sheets if it's a cold day. You can notice that you had a comfortable bed. You may notice that you slept well, that you feel refreshed, that you're excited for the opportunities that come that day. All of those kinds of things, right? Those are things you notice. Well, pause, notice, then what do? You express. And you just express gratitude. Either you can say things out loud, you can journal, write your gratitude. You can do what we did, send somebody a text. And I'm curious, if you heard back from someone you sent a text, what did you hear? You can drop what you heard in the chat. You can come on screen, share what you heard. We'll pause a moment. Other thoughts? And yes, you've already commented, the slides will be made available shortly after this presentation is done. Mentimeter will process, we'll have your feedback, your input on this, and then I'll send Hedden the complete deck. You will have access to all of this.
And because it's recorded, they will be able to see it again and again and again and again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, so another thing, if you want to grow gratitude in your workplace with your team or in your classroom, what are things you can do? Now, I believe there are amazing moments that happen all of the time. And a moment is just when somebody does something that could be rather ordinary, but they do it with such a high level of focus, fervor, or flair that this ordinary activity is suddenly transported to the level of extraordinary. And people in the workplace do extraordinary things all the time. They go extra, they go further than they were asked, they do more. They create amazing presentations for you, they create reports, or they organize a meeting, whatever it is. But when somebody does something extraordinary, well, I think three things often can happen. Either people just totally miss it, they aren't aware that somebody did something extraordinary, or they minimize it. They always go above and beyond. Well, really? Just because they always do, they shouldn't be recognized for doing it this time? But in the best cases, we maximize it, right? We call it out. So I want to share just a three-step process for maximizing moments. When you see somebody do something amazing, how can you maximize that moment? And when you maximize it, you make that moment more memorable, more meaningful. And the other thing I'd say, you also probably increase the probability that it will be repeated, that they will do this extraordinary activity again, that they will continue to go above and beyond. So it starts with, first off, you have to see the moment. What does it mean to see the moment? Well, it requires you being present, and it requires you being aware, right? It requires you being present in the moment, not so distracted, not so focused on so many other things, but being in the moment. To see the moment, then you also seize the moment. You see the moment, and then you decide, I want to take action. I saw that this colleague of mine went above and beyond. So I see the moment. I want to seize the moment. Well, when you express your gratitude, however you choose to express it, whether that is with just saying, wow, that was amazing. Or, as I did with my assistant this morning, sent them a text because they put this presentation together for me. I'm like, wow, and I told them that, that graphic about the micronutrients of happiness, I had no idea. I said, hey, here are three elements. Create a really great visual that shows how these contribute to happiness. And they blew me away. I was like, wow. So thank you. Thank you for that. And they always do amazing. But I call it out, send them a message. And when we do that, we seal the moment, and we create amazement, and we create a connection between what they did and the result we felt. And it increases happiness. So if you want to increase workplace happiness, grow gratitude. If you want to grow gratitude, then make the most of moments that happen every day. See the moment, seize the moment, and seal the moment. My big belief, gratitude is the gateway to workplace happiness. If you want more workplace happiness, grow gratitude. And you can grow gratitude in so many ways, simple ways. So here's a question I would love to discuss. In your own unique way, how can you contribute to expressing gratitude to increase and a classroom happiness, workplace happiness, however you want to define you. Since we have a group of students, how can you contribute to expressing gratitude to increase happiness of others, the shared level of happiness you are experiencing? And what if we realize that we all have a contribution, and having a happy workplace is a shared responsibility? It's not just up to your boss. It's not just up to your teacher to make the classroom experience or your workplace experience good. You and your colleagues have contributions to make. So I'm going to stop the screen share. We'll come back to that when we have some results. Hedden, do we want to open it up for questions? We've got a great group here. I'd love to know. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just thinking about, because remember when we started talking about gratitude, like way back, I was thinking about, is it because in the US you are more, you grow up with gratitude in a sense that when when often I talk to people about gratitude, and maybe it's, I don't know if I'm right, but people in Europe are not that keen on gratitude. Is that, maybe somebody else would comment on that if you're in Europe or whatever. But have you, in all of your encounters with people from all over the world, because you meet a lot of people, so what is your sense? Like Daria, do you want to comment on that? Because you are from, like, please say something.
No, yeah. Actually, I do agree with you. Because I have a feeling. So we always say, I mean, Americans, y- they're more, I would say, extrovert. So I mean, for you saying, I love you at every step of every step of the way. I mean, to your whoever. I mean, to your children, to your partners, to your friends, to everybody. You just say it out because you are used to that. You have been taught that. Same is apparently with gratitude, because in my environment, you would say, I mean, of course, I am grateful for this and for that, but it's like, you know, your co-human being. I mean, I mean, so somebody, who your companion in life of whatever kind. Hey, we're just supposed to know that. So that I'm grateful to you, or he knows you, she knows that, I mean, I'm grateful. It's like self understood, which is, but it is not the case necessarily. And I do, when somebody says thank you to me and I'm grateful for this and that, I do appreciate it. And I do try consciously to act on that, and then to employ that in my life, and to express gratitude more. But it's not like my nature. I mean, it's not something that we do. It's not something that we're used to.
Thank
So
you for
when
that.
when you brought this up, I joined a new friend of mine, Dr. Markku Wallinius from Finland. And he's a futurist, and we were talking about gratitude and the future of work. And I can find it's a YouTube recording. I can get that and send it to you, Hedden, if you want to share it with folks. But this came up, Daria, and one of the things that when Markku and I were talking about this, he was like, in Finland, yeah, I told my wife I loved her the day we got married. Right? If anything changes, I'll give her an update, right? It's funny to think like that people are like that. Same thing. Hey, we give you a paycheck. So obviously we appreciate your work because we pay you for the work. Should we also tell you we're grateful for you? Now, what I do know, Hedden, Joaquin, thanks for joining us. I'm so glad. I hate that you have to leave, but appreciate you joining us for this session. I did not know that gratitude was a universal word and a universal concept. I didn't know that. So in my journey, I never set out to be a gratitude coach. I didn't set out to be a gratitude consultant. I just I stumbled on it, and for me, gratitude, I discovered gratitude on the pathway to enjoy and experience more abundance in my life and in my work, because I grew up with a lot of scarcity mentality, and I wanted to break free of the scarcity that I had known. Well, then I discovered that gratitude is the gateway to abundance. If we're going to be grateful, gosh, okay, let me see if I can
Kevin, it
find
is
this.
also because when Daria was talking, I was just also like, because the first encounter with a European where we were talking about gratitude, then this came. You have to be grateful for you have food on your table. And I think a lot of people around us, they remember a grandfather or grandmother, or like it has been placed down the line, and you want just like gratitude. No, not for me. That is like,
So one of the things I work really hard to not tell people you should do something, right?
yes.
Because I have a reaction to that. And I had a friend years ago who just said, you know, stop shoulding on people. Because we don't know other people's experiences. So a couple of thoughts come to mind now, and I'll share them real quickly. One's the gratitude framework. Let me get it on the screen because I didn't have it as part of this presentation, but it's right here. If we want to grow gratitude, this is how I see gratitude growing. And what you just said is what brought this up. The lowest level of gratitude is obligation. You should be grateful, right? Whoever that is that's shook a finger at you, you should be grateful. You have so many good things in life. It's a command. Well, what happens if we fail to be grateful when gratitude is an obligation? Then we feel guilty. And I don't want people feeling guilty around gratitude. Well, from there, I've also experienced gratitude as a life hack, right? There's so much that's written and shared on social media about gratitude as a life hack. Having a bad day, be grateful for something, express gratitude. And it works. It works. When I'm having a bad day, I express gratitude. I do something for other people. Hey, I was having a tough day earlier this week through just some things in life in our family. I reached out to some people. I did some things for complete strangers on Monday and Tuesday, and it made me feel so much better, right? That's a remedy. It's a shortcut to managing emotions, but it's not the end of the road. And so when I look at this framework, this is a journey. And I don't want people to stop at any place, right? Keep going. So maybe you did experience it as an obligation. Maybe you experience it as a hack. Maybe you lean in and you want to create a gratitude practice. I'm looking for the rhythm and routine. I want to be grateful more consistently in my life. And if you continue to go, oh, I don't want to just have a practice. I want to make it a habit. Right. And I want to have the discipline, and I want to create rituals so that I do this daily. Well, then maybe you keep going and it comes, wow, mindset. So that the first thing in the morning, not because there's an alarm on your phone, but because you've adopted it as a mindset. I want to think about the things I'm grateful for today. Or you use it as a filter when something comes into your life. You go, what's good about this? Even though this thing is bad, what's the good I can find through this difficult thing in life? And you experience peace, and gratitude becomes OS. It's part of your operating system. Well, if we continue on this journey, gratitude becomes lifestyle. Right? It becomes part of our DNA. It's part of our identity, and we experience joy. So I would say there's this journey. Grow on this journey. Find out where you're at now, how you've learned gratitude, but keep growing so that gratitude becomes not just something you do, right? I resist gratitude if it's only an item on a checklist, something to do. But what if it becomes who we are, part of our being? So as we wrap up here, let's come back. I'll look at the words on the screen. Praise for a job well done. How could you contribute to increasing workplace happiness? Give praise for a job well done. Say thank you frequently. Going back to this simple and sincere, right? Simple and sincere expressions of gratitude. And I don't know if I fully finished the thought. So let me pause and say this. I've discovered, gratitude is part of every culture in the world. And I started connecting, as you said, I've had the privilege to work around the world. In India, in many Indian cultures, it's not called gratitude, it's called shukrana, right? They have another word for it, but it's still the same concept. Gratitude is part of all. It's part of the human experience. That's what William James was saying. It's part of the human experience. We all have that longing. And so while it may not be prevalent in your particular culture, people may not be comfortable expressing gratitude in your company or culture, it may not be a norm, it can become more commonplace, right? You can be the one to introduce gratitude, and you don't have to be overly expressive about it. You don't have to make it emotional. Somebody even wrote here, what was it? About appreciating my enthusiasm. Okay, I'm an enthusiastic fellow. You don't have to be enthusiastic to express gratitude. Head, and I remember, one of the statements I make, gratitude changes everything. And I made that in Europe one time. And there was a guy, I love this. The guy raises his hand and he goes, everything? You Americans, right? That was it. You Americans, you exaggerate everything. You always take things to the hilt. You exaggerate everything. And I just looked at him for a moment and I said, everything? Right? Isn't that what you just accused me of? That gratitude changes everything. And then you respond with, you Americans, you always use exaggeration and hyperbole in everything. And I just said, okay, everything, right? And all of a sudden the room, just broke up in laughter, because we realized often we use hyperbole. But I do believe gratitude changes workplaces. If you want to grow happiness, grow gratitude. And then Hedden, let me drop this into the chat. I would love free. So no, wrong place. Let's see. Here we go.
Kevin is a tech wizard, just to point that out from the get-go. But he's getting better at it.
Here's
the name.
Here's a link. We do gratitude encounters once a month. They are free. You can go here and register. I'd love to have you join one. I'm also really curious, Hedden, if this is something you want to explore in your company, if you want to explore, being too grateful. Being too grateful does make colleagues wonder what is happening until you do it often, and then they get used to it. Yeah, gratitude, the first time you express it to someone, people are, what are you up to? Is there, do you have an ulterior motive for expressing gratitude? So I want to say thank you for joining this conversation. I loved it that we had a class. I loved it that people from around the world joined. Daria, I thank you for joining on screen. I love to see people and to interact with people. But if you want to explore ways to express, activate, or infuse gratitude, let's talk. I mean, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm just Kevin Monroe. If you go to LinkedIn, Kevin Monroe, you can find me there. And I would love to continue this conversation. Hedden, thank you for organizing this great week. And
may I just ask something? Just a short question.
Sure.
So I have looked at this link. So it says 12 p.m. Eastern time, and it means Eastern European, or Eastern American, or what is it? What time?
Yeah, it's 12 noon Eastern American time.
American, okay.
So it's probably, if it's
Where are you at, Daria?
Luxembourg.
Yeah, so it would be 6 o'clock. I think it's 4 GMT.
Yeah, okay.
And 6 Central European time.
Okay, Central European. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
But I think I wrote just in the chat also, Kevin, our phrase, gratitude, and in brackets, happiness is better together. So
it is.
Just find the people, find like-minded people, and just grab them and make a plan, or just get together and surprise your colleagues. Give them a bite of chocolate, and don't tell them who did it. Make surprises, and then unbelievable things will happen. It's just And I will say, like, whatever we have shown you, I hope, like Kevin, you have said, the slides will go. You can reach out for the slides, and you will get the video recording. You will get the research and whatever. So just and reach out, because this is something, as I say, and I firmly and truly believe it. Gratitude and happiness is something that we are better to practicing together. Oh, and
Absolutely.
let's not go into the belonging thing.
Let's do.
Okay. Because
Hey,
we
thank you
need
all
to
for
do
joining
this.
us today.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
And
It's the top of the hour, and thank you, wonderful people, for joining this initiative, and just stay happy.
hey, we'll linger a moment if anybody has got a question.
Yeah, I will stop the recording.